We're living in a strange time. Instead of standing in front of all of you in a large room, you're all waiting for me to give you amazing knowledge and impart it upon you. I'm in this room with a random camera guy and Micah alone. And essentially what's happened is the world around us is on fire. We're locked in our houses. We've become masters of smuggling cigarettes and bootlegging alcohol. The economy's collapsing. We can't even escape because they've shut our Tambo down. And I'm working at home with a 2-year-old, so I can tell you that every now and again I really do dream about that escape. The internet is filled with people who are promising us the new normal. And I'm struck by a very simple truth that there is no new normal. People are kind of hoping for this world to go back to the way it was, and ultimately I don't think it will ever come back. Is that fine? There's no magic adjustment strategy that'll help us right the world to the way it was before this. I think we need to accept that we are living in the new normal. This is it. We've arrived. And you know what? This world we're living in, it sucks. And if you're going to listen to the news, or God forbid you're going to go onto Facebook, the outlook for the world is pretty bleak. But I don't want to talk about that. So many of the conversations I'm in, they focus on it. And strangely enough, it seems that what people want to talk about first has been replaced. So we used to talk about the weather or platitudes on family. But now it's this narrative of global panic and collapse. And this doesn't sit well with me. I want to talk about something completely different because I have a curse, and my curse is optimism. This drives my wife crazy because I'm always optimistic about everything. And my team at Nice Work get very frustrated with me because I'm always looking for that positive side. And I think COVID has given us a bit of a gift. It's an opportunity that we can all use. Essentially, we've hit the largest global reset button ever. And I think there's this gift of being able to ask questions now that we would have probably been hung for asking them in a different time. And I think we live in a time where we get to do some deep and fundamental questioning. We get to ask questions about what other ways are there? What else can we do with our time? What else can we do with our effort? And I think you've been freed from a path that was pre-etched for you, where you get the design degree, you go work at the agency, you win the award so that you can move to another agency and potentially win another award and get that account. And hopefully one day, if you've done it all really well, you get to judge those awards. So this world, this pre-etched path for you doesn't exist anymore. And I think everything's changing, but ultimately it always has, and it always will do. And for me, that's a relief. It's so freeing to think that we don't have to do that anymore. And I think the duality of this time and these differing opinions, these different ways of looking at the world is the human condition. It's the lives that we choose to live. And for me, who better to deal with this condition than someone who can imagine a better future and move towards it? Someone who can create a vision. And for me, when I say vision, I mean everything that starts today and all of the days looking forward. So, and I think understanding what next steps we need to take is going to require vision. And we're going to need people who can unleash their imagination, and they can think about solutions to problems we've never seen before, that they can create tools that we haven't even made yet, and people who can create things that were never possible before now, before this moment that we live in today. I think we're in a great space because we need communicators. We need storytellers. We need to look into the future, and when we look there, not to see something bleak, but to actually be excited. And I think we need to create better things. We need to create things that move people. We need to create things that make opportunities. And we need to create things that can heal our country. But saying all of this, I don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to require massive reserves of energy, reserves of patience, of grit, of willingness to test the bounds of the possible and the impossible. So along the way, you're going to make mistakes. Some of them are going to be small. Some of them are going to be massive. But each one will be valuable in their own way. Each will be an opportunity to grow and to learn. And I think what you need to do right now is to grow. We need to stem this tide of lacking and counter it with a narrative of possibility. We need to grow, and we need to grow in a sustainable way. So if I was standing in a room with you today, I would ask you to humor me a little bit and let me look back on some of the things that have stuck with me through this time. Because before you charge out there into the world and build the way forward, I think there's some things we can remember. 1, hold strong ideas lightly. Nobody wants to talk to the guy at the party who has an opinion about nothing. Be the person who believes in something, who fights for it. Be the person who rallies people to something bigger than themselves, who loves something so much that you'd make enemies over it. But be willing to abandon those ideas and those opinions if you see a better way. Because don't let pride, ego, or fear attach you to something that you know isn't working anymore. 2, risk it all. There's so much time for you to build, to fail, and to build again. It seems the older I get, the scarier this prospect becomes. The weight of what I've achieved and what I've accumulated weighs me down. It anchors me to what I could potentially lose. But I want you to think about what you can gain instead of focusing on what you could lose. Because there's opportunity. This is an opportunity to be bold. It's an opportunity to reinvent yourself. And I think it all starts in your mind. 3, plan for a bit and then jump. My favorite quote is from Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And plans are just something we've created to give us a false sense of control. So in creating something new, it's inherently filled with risk. And risk is filled with danger. So we need to jump. We need to jump into that danger and adapt as it comes at us. Because the future, after all, is not going to be created by bankers and accountants. They're the ones who created the present. And risk cannot be analyzed and it cannot be planned away because it is, after all, risk. So at some point, you have to step off that edge. You have to see what happens. But then again, I think nothing of mention was ever created in a straight line. 4, ideas without action are just words on a page. Share your ideas. Talk about them with anybody who will listen. Put them into action. Nothing kills a shitty idea like putting it out there into the world. And if you're anything like me, you would have had many shitty ideas. Make the things you see in your head. Put them into action. You'll be surprised by the results. And I think the key here is action. Because by sharing your ideas with people, they might even conspire with you to make them a reality. 5, be a joiner. Celebrate the success of others. Share in the joy when people do well. I think being cool and aloof is like a cancer. It grows quickly and it affects others around you. If you see something you love, go and tell the person who created it. If you see someone starting something, somebody trying something, go and check it out. And if you show up hard. Show up with your full self. Because every single heaving dance floor, every passionate debate was started by one person who was met by another. And at some point, you are going to be doing something. And you're really going to appreciate somebody showing up for you. 6, be curious. Ask a million questions. Listen to the answers in a genuine way and then ask more questions. Because I fundamentally believe that curiosity is the cure to the human condition. I know you've just finished your formal education, and I believe you've only just scratched the surface, because you all have talent, but talent isn't going to achieve anything unless you can convince people to let you apply it to their problems. And the best way to do that is to truly understand what those problems are. My favorite thing about this work we get to do, is that I get to learn new things almost every day. I get to explore the world. I get to glimpse into the lives of the people in it. And I get to create things that respond to that and make those lives slightly better. In the end, they imprint on my life as much as I imprint on them. So I'm encouraging you to take an interest in the world. Question how we got here and dream up where we're going. But I think you probably already know that. 7, have empathy. When I started the speech, I said the world is burning, and I meant it. People are in need, they're scared, they need help. And luckily for them, empathy is at the heart of every creative. It's our most effective and underrated tool. If you seek to understand people, to look at their perspectives and know that each and every one of them is just a human being trying to get a foothold in the world, you can use this empathy to build better things. You can build things that have the potential to make a difference in their lives. And maybe, just maybe, your actions and your way of being will ripple out into the world and expand beyond your immediate circle. 8, and this is probably my favorite one, laugh. Because for me, the first warning sign is when I stop laughing and I stop trying to make the people around me laugh, there's a problem. And if what you're doing doesn't fill you up, stop doing it. Everything we do is a choice. And one of the traps that I've fallen into is believing that I didn't have a choice. But I do. And I believe that I didn't have a choice in creating the situation that I'm in the work that I'm creating, and in the people that I'm spending my time with. But I do. Because all we have is our choices. Choose the things that make you laugh. Choose the things that fill you up. Choose the thing that gives you joy, because when it sucks and when it gets hard, and it will, you can always laugh, even if you're laughing at it as you walk towards something better. Finally, 9, be really good at being you. You are the only version of yourself. You're a unique collection of experiences, choices, thoughts, and even that occasional bad musical track that you don't want anyone to know that you listen to. And I encourage you to fill your time by working on things that you are passionate about. Find the problems that bother you and solve them. And I encourage you to spend time reflecting on what's important to you, and then fill your time exploring that. I mean, what a way to live. Use your skills to shape the narrative that you want to see, and get other people to care about it too. Because only you can do what you do best. It's your voice, it's your mind, it's your story. So I'm sharing this advice with you because Micah asked me to, and I can only assume that all the other people were busy, but I think that's a discussion for another day. But I'm also doing this for very selfish reasons. I'm doing it so that I can claim your victory, so that I can share in your success, and ultimately so that I can live in a world and a country that's been made better in ways that I could never fathom, by people who created better things that I could never have conceived of. And even though I'm sitting in this room without you, just me and one camera guy, each and every one of you is sitting on a computer, and you're listening to the speech. And on that computer are all the tools you need, the tools to build, to design, to create, to make all the things that you can see in your mind. And that computer is connected to the internet, and therefore it can reach all the people in the world. And I'm very optimistic that computer and all the opportunity it represents when it's in your hands. You can do this. Be creative. We need creativity right now. We need to create better careers, create better companies, create better products, create better things. Let's leave the world better than you found it. Good luck.